High above the frozen hills, the northern lights danced like ribbons of emerald and violet silk across the endless indigo sky. Beneath their glow, the wind carried soft secrets, whispering through the drifting snowflakes as if the night itself were humming a lullaby. Each flake sparkled like a falling star before landing on the velvety white fur of a young polar bear curled beside an icy cave. His name was Lumi, a 3-year-old cub with a heart full of curiosity and dreams still forming. The snow whispered to him, words he could almost understand, about journeys that begin in silence and worlds that shimmer beyond sight. His eyes fluttered, half awake, listening to the melody of frost and wind. The whispers told of Dreamland, a place made of light and peace, where even the cold was warm with wonder. And as the snowflakes began to swirl more quickly, he felt them lift him gently, carrying him away on a soft breath of magic. The snowflakes lifted Lumi high above the tundra, their whispers now songs. The stars seemed close enough to touch as he floated through clouds tinted with the colors of dawn. He felt no cold, only the warmth of wonder. Below him, the frozen world glittered like crystal, each mountain a diamond, each river a thread of silver. Around him fluttered the same gentle snow sprites, appearing like children of light, soft, glowing beings with laughter in their eyes. Come, Lumi, they sang in voices like wind chimes. Follow the golden trail. Dreamland awaits. The cub nodded in his sleep, carried onward through the glowing sky, his heart beating with the rhythm of the lullaby. As Lumi drifted lower, the air shimmered and thickened, turning into a soft silver mist. He landed gently on a field of frost that glowed with inner light. Snowflakes danced around his paws, creating a spiral path leading toward distant hills that pulsed with color. He followed, each step soft and slow, guided by the whispering snow. Ahead stood a hill unlike any other, its surface flowing with the hues of sunrise trapped in ice. From its crest spilled a waterfall, not of water, but of pure light, pouring down like liquid stars. The snow sang gently, telling Lumi this was the way to Dreamland, where hearts rested and the night became kindness itself. The closer Lumi came to the shining hill, the warmer the air became, though frost still shimmered beneath his paws. At its base lay a circle of crystal stones, each carved with tiny stars that gleamed softly. The snowflakes gathered above the circle, forming patterns like a glowing nest. A voice, tender and soft as moonlight, whispered, "Rest now, little dreamer. Every adventure begins with peace." Lumi curled up in the circle, feeling the hum of the earth beneath him. A silver mist wrapped around him like a blanket, and the northern lights bowed lower, painting gentle colors on his fur. His eyes fluttered closed as the lullaby of snow carried him deeper into Dreamland's song. As Lumi drifted into slumber, the whispers faded into a single pure note. The snowflakes dissolved into sparkles, soaking into his fur. The aurora brightened once more, forming a luminous bridge stretching across the heavens. The snow sprites danced briefly upon it before vanishing like mist. Lumi's chest rose and fell in slow, steady rhythm, his dreams unfolding in gentle color. He was safe, loved, and surrounded by light. The wind's last whisper carried across the snow. Sleep, little bear. The story has just begun. Lumi awoke in a land so gentle and bright it seemed made of dreams themselves. The ground shimmered like powdered moonlight, and every snowflake that touched it glowed softly, humming a faint melody. The sky was no longer dark but pale gold, threaded with slow-moving clouds shaped like feathers. He stood up, blinking in wonder. In the distance, fields of light stretched endlessly, scattered with trees whose branches hung heavy with crystal fruit that tinkled when the breeze passed through. The same snow sprites who had carried him danced across the sky, leaving trails of blue sparkles behind them. They sang, "Follow the lullaby, Lumi. Follow the path of song. And though he didn't understand how he knew where to go, his paws began to move. One step, then another, guided by the rhythm of the snow's whisper. The whispering snow guided Lumi to a narrow path that glowed faintly beneath his feet. It wound through a forest where icicles dangled like wind chimes and snow petals floated through the air instead of leaves. Every step he took released a soft musical note, and soon a melody surrounded him. He felt as though he were walking upon a song. The snow sprites darted between the trees, giggling and weaving strands of light that shimmered like spider silk. They twirled around him, calling out, "This way, Lumi!" The lullaby grows louder. He followed, his heart full of wonder. Above, the aurora had turned to gentle daylight, but its colors still rippled faintly in the sky, reminding him that he was walking where dreams and light met as one. As Lumi continued along the path, he reached a frozen lake so still that it reflected the entire sky. The snow sprites hovered above it, their laughter echoing like bells. "Cross the mirror, little dreamer," they whispered. Lumi stepped forward hesitantly, and to his surprise, the ice did not crack. It sang. Each paw print created ripples of color, spreading outward in waves of gold, violet, and silver. The lake shimmered with life, and his reflection smiled back at him, brighter and braver. He realized the whispers had changed. Now they spoke inside his heart, reminding him that even in the quiet, he was never truly alone. The snowflakes above swirled faster, forming a bridge of frostlight across the lake, and Lumi began to walk toward the horizon where dreams deepened into wonder. Halfway across the lake, the whispers turned into a melody of voices all around him. Deep, gentle tones mingling with soft hums. He paused, looking up, and saw shapes moving in the light above. Great polar bears of shimmering silver fur and glowing eyes. They watched him kindly, their presence as warm as sunlight on snow. Lumi felt no fear. Instead, his heart filled with peace. One of the ancient bears lowered its head, and a deep voice whispered within the wind, "We are the memories of the snow. You are brave, little one. Keep following the song. It will take you home." Lumi bowed his head in silent thanks, the whispering wind brushing his fur like a parent's touch. Then, as softly as they had appeared, the spirits of snow faded back into the aurora's light. As the last whisper of the great bears faded, Lumi reached the far side of the lake. There the snowflakes formed an archway of frost and light that pulsed gently like a heartbeat. The snow sprites gathered around him, their soft voices rising once more. The path to Dreamland opens only to those who listen with their hearts. Lumi nodded, understanding now that the whispers had always been guiding him toward peace and courage. He stepped beneath the archway, and a glow surrounded him so warm that it felt like the world itself was giving him a hug. The snowflakes swirled faster, lifting him once more, this time not into the sky, but into the next dream beyond dreams. When Lumi passed through the archway of frost and light, the world around him transformed into something wondrous. The air shimmered like morning dew, and the ground beneath his paws felt soft as clouds. Above him stretched a sky full of stars, so close they seemed to hum and sway in rhythm. The stars weren't silent, they sang in crystal voices, each note like a raindrop of light. He looked around and saw hills of glowing snow, and between them flowed streams of liquid starlight that glowed blue and silver. The snow sprites followed close, their laughter like bells. "Welcome to the land of singing stars," they whispered. "Here, dreams learn to sing." Lumi lifted his head to the sky, and for the first time he felt his heart beating in tune with the stars themselves. The stars' song grew stronger as Lumi climbed a nearby hill. With each step, the ground pulsed like a heartbeat, and the air sparkled with golden dust. When he reached the top, he saw that the stars were moving, slowly, gracefully, forming constellations that changed shape. One moment, they were swirling snowflakes. The next, they formed gentle polar bears made of light, just like the spirits he had seen before. "The stars remember you," said a sprite softly. "They know every dreamer who listens." Lumi sat quietly, gazing upward, feeling as though he were part of the song. The light wrapped around him like a melody come to life. And for a moment, he forgot where the real world ended and the dream began. As Lumi listened, a single star began to fall from the heavens. It drifted down slowly, glowing brighter as it neared him. The sprites gasped in delight. When the star touched the snow, it transformed into a small orb of light, warm and alive, pulsing gently. Lumi stepped closer and placed a paw against it. A soft voice spoke from within the light. "I am the songkeeper. Every heart that dares to dream carries a note in the great melody of creation." Lumi tilted his head, mesmerized. "Will I learn to sing too?" he whispered. The star pulsed again, its glow deepening. "You already are," it answered. "Your courage is the song." The light shimmered, and Lumi felt something stir within his chest. A warmth like hope blooming quietly in winter's stillness. The songkeeper's light rose higher, forming a swirling pattern of sound and color. The snow around Lumi lifted, caught in the same rhythm, spinning into glowing shapes that danced to the melody. The sprites joined in, their laughter blending into harmony with the star's song. Lumi felt his heart glowing brighter until it seemed to shine through his fur. "This is the song of courage," whispered the songkeeper. "It begins when you listen, and it grows when you love." The light swirled faster, then poured into Lumi's chest, settling within him like a gentle ember. He breathed deeply, and for the first time, his breath shimmered with faint starlight. The world around him hushed, as if holding its breath to listen to the tiny bear who now carried a piece of the sky inside him. When the song finally faded, the land grew quiet again, but the silence was full of peace. The snow sprites gathered close to Lumi, their eyes sparkling. "You carry the song now," one whispered. "Wherever you go, it will remind the world to dream." Lumi smiled softly, gazing at the starlit horizon. A soft wind brushed his fur, carrying the lingering notes of the star's melody. The golden streams around him dimmed gently, as though tucking themselves in for rest. He looked once more toward the sky, whispered a thank you to the songkeeper, and continued walking. Each paw print left behind glowed faintly, like tiny stars upon the snow, a promise that even in the quietest places, light still sings. Lumi's paws carried him into a new valley, where the snow gleamed like glass beneath a sky that pulsed with color. The aurora had returned, but now it moved like a living river above him. Slow, graceful, shimmering with pinks, greens, and golds. It hummed softly, and the air vibrated with warmth. At the valley's center rose a magnificent bridge made entirely of light. Each step of the bridge flickered like a heartbeat, casting reflections that rippled across the frozen hills. Lumi paused, staring in awe. The snow sprites hovered behind him, their wings glowing brighter than before. "This is the bridge of Aurora dreams," one whispered. "Every dreamer must cross it before they can rest in the heart of Dreamland." Lumi nodded quietly, feeling the snowflakes swirl around his paws again, urging him forward with soft, whispering songs. As Lumi stepped onto the bridge, the light beneath his paws sang softly, each note blending into a tender melody that filled the valley below. He felt weightless, as though the world had lifted him. The air around him shimmered with tiny motes of light that danced like fireflies, swirling upward into the night. Beneath the bridge stretched not earth or snow, but an ocean of dreams, Waves of silver mist where flickering memories floated like lanterns. Lumi paused to look down and saw images of families sleeping peacefully. Children smiling in their dreams, and distant lands bathed in moonlight. He realized this bridge connected all who dreamed. Every heart below him glowed with a light of its own. The thought filled him with gentle pride and quiet love. Halfway across the bridge, the aurora's song changed. It became softer, slower, almost a heartbeat. Lumi stopped, listening. From the mist below rose a shadow, dark and slow-moving. Like a cloud of smoke, the snow sprites drew close, their lights flickering with concern. "Don't be afraid," one whispered. "The shadow is only the night testing your courage." The darkness rose higher, curling around Lumi's paws. He shivered, feeling cold for the first time since Dreamland began. But then he remembered the songkeeper's words. Courage is the song. He took a deep breath and stepped forward, his chest glowing faintly with the light he had been given. The darkness wavered, then dissolved into silver mist, chased away by the warmth of his heart. As the last of the shadow vanished, the bridge brightened once more. The snow sprites sang in joy, their voices echoing like wind through crystal. Lumi's paws felt warm again, and he continued his journey. Ahead, at the far end of the bridge, stood a gateway made of light. It looked like a curtain of gold mist swaying gently in the air. "Beyond that gate," said one sprite softly, "lies the heart of Dreamland. It's where all peaceful dreams are born." Lumi's heart beat faster with excitement. He could feel the song of courage still humming within him, strong and steady. He glanced back at the endless valley, the sleeping world beneath, and whispered, "I'm ready." The aurora seemed to nod in response, rippling brighter, lighting his path all the way to the Golden Gate. When Lumi reached the Golden Gate, the snow sprites gathered in a circle around him. Their voices rose in a melody that sounded like laughter and love woven together. "Your heart is brave," they sang. Now the gate will open. The curtain of light parted slowly, revealing a horizon of warmth and color beyond imagination. A gentle wind swept through, carrying the scent of snowberries and dreams. Lumi turned to the sprites and smiled. "Thank you," he said softly. One sprite, glowing brighter than the rest, replied, "Thank you for listening to the whispers of the snow." Then, with a final glance back at the bridge, Lumi stepped through the Golden Gate. Instantly, the light embraced him and Dreamland's true heart welcomed him home. Lumi stepped through the Golden Gate and gasped. The world beyond was unlike anything he had ever seen. The air shimmered with soft colors, rosy pinks, golden yellows, gentle blues, and the snow beneath his paws felt warm, glowing faintly, as though lit from within. All around him floated tiny globes of light that moved like drifting bubbles, each one pulsing with gentle rhythms. When he looked closer, he saw pictures within them. Children smiling, animals curled in slumber, flowers blooming under moonlight. These were dreams, living, breathing dreams, and they filled the air with songs of laughter and peace. The snow sprites fluttered joyfully above him, calling, "Welcome to the heart of Dreamland, Lumi. Here, all dreams rest and grow." The little bear's heart swelled with quiet happiness as he stepped deeper into the glowing field, feeling love surround him like a gentle hug. As Lumi wandered deeper, the dream orbs began to drift closer to him, circling gently. They seemed drawn to the light inside his heart. One of them settled before his nose, glowing softly. Inside, he saw himself as a cub, playing in snow beneath a bright sky. He realized this was one of his own memories, a moment of pure joy now shining forever in Dreamland. The snow sprites giggled softly. Dreamland keeps every kind thought, every loving memory, one said. They become the light that comforts others as they sleep. Lumi smiled, a warm feeling blooming in his chest. He understood now. The snowflakes' whispers had carried him here, not just to dream, but to remember the beauty that love leaves behind. A gentle sound rose from beneath the snow, soft, rhythmic, and calming, like a heartbeat shared by the whole world. The dream orbs pulsed in time with it, and the ground beneath Lumi began to glow brighter. "That is the heart," whispered one sprite reverently. "It beats for every dreamer. Every time someone falls asleep with hope, it grows stronger." Lumi lowered his head and listened. The sound filled him completely, wrapping around his spirit. It was love in its purest form, endless, patient, and kind. Tears of light shimmered in his eyes, and he whispered softly, "It sounds like home." The sprites nodded with bright smiles, their wings glimmering like dawn. As the heartbeat's rhythm grew softer, a great light appeared in the center of the field, a column of gold that shimmered like sunlight through water. The snow sprites gathered in a circle around it, bowing their heads. "This is the source," said the oldest sprite softly, her light shining silver-white. "The beginning of every dream." Lumi approached slowly, his reflection rippling across the golden snow. The source pulsed gently, and a voice as calm as the stars spoke within him. "Little bear, you have walked the paths of wonder, courage, and peace. You carry the song of snow and stars. Will you share it with the world when you wake?" Lumi closed his eyes and nodded. "I will." The light brightened, wrapping around him in warmth so deep it felt like the world itself was smiling. The light from the source dimmed softly, leaving the heart of Dreamland aglow in gentle peace. Lumi felt lighter than air, his fur sparkling faintly with golden dust. "It's time to rest," whispered the sprites. "You've learned what dreams are made of." Lumi yawned, feeling sleep tug at him again. This time deeper, kinder, like being carried by clouds. The sprites surrounded him, singing their lullaby once more. "Sleep, little dreamer, your song is safe." He lay down upon the glowing snow, his body glowing with the last touch of the source. As his eyes closed, the dream orbs drifted upward, floating away like stars returning to the sky. And with one final whisper of snow, Dreamland sighed in contentment. As Lumi slept beneath the shimmering sky, Dreamland itself began to change around him. The glowing snow dimmed to silver, and the pastel hues above softened into the cool blues of dawn. A hush fell over the heart of Dreamland, and from that silence came a sound, a soft, fluttering whisper, like the first breath of morning. The snow sprites gathered close, their lights dim but peaceful. "It's time," said one gently. "Every dream must return to its beginning." Lumi stirred, his eyes opening slowly. He felt warm and calm, though a hint of sadness brushed his heart. "Will I remember this place?" he asked softly. "Always," answered the sprites in unison. "Dreamland never forgets those who listen." The air shimmered around him, and the snow beneath his paws began to rise in glowing spirals, lifting him gently toward the sky. The dream orbs that had once surrounded him floated upward, drifting like lanterns into the softening sky. Each one carried a glimmer of the dreams he had seen. Children's laughter, quiet forests, shining stars. The snow sprites followed them upward, their wings leaving streaks of fading light. Lumi watched in wonder, his heart swelling with warmth. The golden bridge he had crossed shimmered once more in the distance, now faint and ghostly, guiding him home. A gentle wind brushed his fur, carrying the scent of frost and morning. The whispers of the snow returned, faint but familiar, singing the same lullaby that had begun his journey. He closed his eyes, letting the sound guide him, feeling himself drift upward into the cool blue light of dawn. As Lumi drifted higher, Dreamland began to dissolve around him. The glowing snow melting into mist, the song of stars fading into silence. Yet within that silence came a promise, spoken not by words but by feeling. You are part of the dream now. Wherever love and peace are, you will always be near. Lumi smiled faintly, the warmth in his heart shining brighter. He felt himself becoming lighter still, until all that remained of him was a soft breath of light gliding over snow. He saw the familiar world returning, the endless white tundra beneath the aurora sky, the same ice cave where he had first closed his eyes. The snowflakes around him whispered joyfully as they lowered him back to the ground. When his paws touched the snow again, Lumi blinked. The air was crisp, and the colors of dawn spread across the frozen hills. Everything was quiet, but different. Fuller. Softer. As if the world itself had learned to breathe slower. He stretched, yawned, and felt the lingering warmth of Dreamland still glowing inside his heart. The snowflakes danced gently around him, whispering their secrets once more, though now he could understand them. Thank you for dreaming with us. Lumi smiled, curling once more beside the ice cave. The wind brushed his fur, carrying the faint echo of the lullaby he would remember forever. Above him, the aurora faded into pale daylight, but a single glimmer of gold still shimmered faintly in the snow beside his paw. A tiny piece of dreamland left behind to remind him it was real. The day grew brighter, and the polar plains glittered like scattered diamonds. Lumi's eyes fluttered open one last time before he drifted fully into rest. He thought of the whispering snowflakes, the bridge of aurora, the singing stars, and the golden heart of Dreamland. Though he was awake again, his dreams remained, woven into his spirit like a quiet song that would never fade. Somewhere above, the last snow sprite looked down, smiling softly, and whispered through the wind, "Until we dream again." Lumi nestled deeper into the snow, warm and safe, as the sky glowed with the promise of another night, filled with whispers and wonder. The sun climbed gently over the frozen hills, its light spilling across the snow like melted gold. Lumi still lay curled by his cave, half asleep, half awake, the line between dream and morning fading softly. The snowflakes around him shimmered as they fell, whispering the same melody that had carried him through Dreamland. But this time their voices were quiet and tender, like a lullaby sung not for sleeping, but for remembering. The wind that brushed his fur was warm, carrying the faint scent of pine and sea. Lumi blinked slowly, his eyes reflecting both the golden dawn and the faraway glow of stars. He didn't need to wonder whether Dreamland had been real. The song in his heart still pulsed with life. He sighed contentedly, knowing that even in the waking world, dreams would always whisper to those who listened. Far above him, the aurora lingered faintly, its last ribbons glowing against the daylight, refusing to vanish entirely. From its glow descended a trail of silver light that swirled gently above Lumi's head. Within it appeared the shapes of the snow sprites, faint and translucent now, waving goodbye with smiles that shimmered like morning frost. "You dreamed bravely," they whispered. "The world will remember your courage." Their voices melted into the wind, and Lumi felt a tear slip from his eye, not of sadness, but of gratitude. The silver light rose once more, curling back into the sky, where it broke apart into thousands of shining snowflakes. They drifted down slowly, blanketing the land in a glow so pure it seemed to hum. The snowflakes fell thicker, spinning in gentle spirals around Lumi. Each one carried a faint glow, and together they formed a swirling column of light that reached from the ground to the heavens. The whispering voices returned, not as lullabies this time, but as blessings. Dream, little one, even when you wake, for every heart that dares to dream keeps the snow alive. Lumi closed his eyes, the words sinking deep into his heart. He felt the warmth of Dreamland there still, burning softly like an ember in the cold. The snow's light touched his fur, then slowly faded, leaving behind only stillness and the sound of the wind. Yet somehow, the silence now felt full, like a song waiting to be sung again. Hours passed, and the day unfolded with quiet grace. Lumi stretched and wandered from his cave, his paws sinking softly into the fresh snow. The air was crisp, but it no longer felt lonely. Every gust of wind carried faint whispers of laughter, like the snow sprites were still nearby. He paused at the edge of a hill, gazing at the vastness before him. The same white world, but now glowing with hidden warmth. Somewhere far away, a soft chime echoed, the same melody he had heard in Dreamland. Lumi smiled, his heart swelling with peace. He knew now that Dreamland wasn't a place you found. It was something you carried with you, tucked deep inside, glowing even in the coldest snow. As evening returned and the first stars began to appear, Lumi lay down once more beside his icy cave. The wind had grown gentle again, and snowflakes drifted lazily from the sky. They settled around him, whispering softly, their lullaby now familiar and comforting. "Rest, little dreamer," they murmured. "For night is just another beginning." Lumi's eyes fluttered shut, and a faint smile curved his muzzle. The aurora shimmered once more above him, brighter now, as if celebrating his peace. The snowflakes swirled one last time and then settled quietly, blanketing him in warmth and light. And as he drifted into dreams, the world around him sighed with contentment. The final whisper of the snow carrying across the silent tundra, gentle, timeless, eternal.